Brand new spoiler review here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinenberg, and today I'm giving my spoiler review on episode 3 of Alien Earth, titled Metamorphosis. The episode dropped last night on FX and Hulu. So, my name is Max Dinenberg. Welcome back to Max Talks Movies. If you're new to the channel, guys, please hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. I do movie and TV show reviews, added theater reactions, box office breakdown shows, many of other things. So if you're new to the channel, guys, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on episode 3 of Alien Earth? Do you think the show is picking up momentum, losing steam already? Are you nervous, excited, optimistic for the rest of the show? Love to hear your thoughts, guys, down in the comments. And also, guys, please hit that thumbs up button. So overall, guys, I found episode 3 to be another very enjoyable episode. I am slightly a skeptic on how they're going to continue this momentum for 5 more episodes because I thought we were going to spend a lot more time around Earth. Feels like we're going to be kind of set on this Prodigy Island thing for the majority of the show. I'll say that off the bat, but overall, this episode was very strong. We get the follow up to what happened last week, which is when Joe got taken by the xenomorph. He's getting start to put in that cocoon, but that's when Wendy makes the save. And we open the first like 20 minutes of the episode is all about this fight between Wendy and the xenomorph. Wendy kills the xenomorph, it looks like, but she also gets wounded in battle, as does Joe, who seems to have a hard time breathing, and we're going to get to that towards the end of this video. But this show did a really good job building the suspense with the xenomorph because the xenomorph clearly, again, can tell when something is human or not. And when it peeked in to see that Wendy was there, then it went from above, and we saw the acid. That was all just really well done. And the actual usage of the xenomorph has been very smart, limited, but looks very good here on the show. But then we have Boy Cavalier as as Wendy's taken out and Joe is taken out. Cavalier asks Hirsch to get all the specimens and bring them back. And everyone's like, they're so worried. And he says, we're not going to leave this trillions of dollars worth of things on this planet. We have all these facilities to study all of these things. We're going to take them. We get a big standoff in this episode between two of the kids, Slightly and Shmi, up against Morrow. And Morrow starts to learn that these are clearly not just plain old synthetics. There's something else that they're hiding. They're talking about parents. They're acting like children. They have clearly emotions. And we learn with Morrow being a cyborg that obviously he's half human and half robot, but he is extremely loyal to Weyland-Yutani. Even though he's not a synthetic, his mission is Weyland-Yutani, but you can tell Morrow kind of has regret that being the chief person on the ship, that all those people died at his hands, basically. You can kind of see the regrets and sadness kind of in Morrow throughout the episode. Morrow is easily one of the most interesting characters on the show, him being a cyborg and this idea of him still being very loyal to Weyland-Yutani, but also kind of having some emotions. I'm very fascinated in the direction of his character for the rest of the season, if maybe he wants to become a synthetic. I think it's been a big theory that's been pointed out there. I think that's a very worthy one as well. But that's when Hirsch comes in, Morrow escapes, and they take Kirsch and they take all of the specimens back to the Prodigy Island. I thought the best scene of the episode was a showdown, talking wise, between the characters of Curly and Cavalier, where Curly comes in and she keeps asking Cavalier, is Wendy your favorite? And why is she your favorite? And he says, she is my favorite. She's the first one. But she clearly is motivated to be in Cavalier's good graces. She's learned French last week, she said, and She isn't worried about the regrets. She's kind of happy in the situation she is. She cares about immortality. And she wants to be more than Cavalier. Someone who's smarter, even has more success. Now it's gonna be interesting because what did Cavalier say in episode two? He's doing all of this so he can have finally a real educated conversation of someone who is smarter than him. And so he's not always the smartest person in the room. Obviously, he's BSing himself in these conversations. But here's someone who's trying to become in the good graces. She's clearly acting more mature than the rest of the characters. I really liked that conversation that was had in this episode. We move along, and it looks like Cavalier's fascinated with the eggs, but again, the eggs can tell who is human and who is not. So Kirsch makes sure that no humans are allowed in this facility. Um, and Cavalier has to watch, from behind. We also had the scene where Cavalier's servant, who is in synthetic, talking about Morrow, and then Morrow has a conversation with Slightly. And clearly, Morrow is going to use Slightly to infiltrate Prodigy Island. So, again, they're kids. They're very easy to manipulate in this situation. Clearly, Morrow knows how to twist his way into this situation, and that's how I think Morrow will be involved. He has a conversation with Yutani herself, and she says, "You've done all you can. They're alive. We'll go find them ourselves, come back home." And Morrow says, "This is my life's work. I'm the one who's going to bring them back to you." So even though he disobeys, I guess, an order, his goal is still just to bring back the specimens back to Weyland Yutani. Um, and again, it's going to be very interesting how they do this cover up because again, a lot of these characters should not know about these specimens a couple years from now when the first Alien takes place, especially Prodigy and Cavalier. So as we keep going on, it's going to be very interesting how things happen. So then Weyland-Yutani has to send the mission that we see from the Nostromo in the first Alien movie. But we're back. Wendy is brought back to life basically. As we're getting this, as she's walking in, she clearly has this very big connection with the xenomorphs and the eggs. Because as Kirsch is working on it, he's poking away and she's getting these monster headaches. And she faints towards the end of the episode. And we are also cutting between a big twist, which is Joe. You think they're like doing surgery on him to help him, but they're not. They're taking out his lung because he did have a hard time breathing, and they're putting the little xenomorph in to infect his lung. Now it's going to be interesting if they obviously put that lung back in Joe, and then he births, has a xenomorph in him, which obviously, if you know the Alien franchise, know that it's not a good thing that's going to happen with that character. But the big twist is that they're using his lung and they're using that to infect it with the xenomorph. So obviously, it looks like Joe will not know that that happened, and we'll see how long it takes for Wendy to realize that is happening. Because again, also Wendy has this connection with the xenomorphs. So we end on that cliffhanger of Prodigy and Boy Cavalier, not Prodigy, but Boy Cavalier infecting Joe's um, lung with the xenomorph. So I'm very intrigued by the show. I'm very much enjoying myself so far. I thought the performances are good. I still think the pacing can be quite slow. Like when that opening sequence happened, I was surely thought we were like 30 to 35 minutes into the episode. We were like only 20. So I think sometimes the pacing can be off in the show. And at times the show does drag a bit. And I'm very nervous that they're going to have to sustain the intensity of basically being on this island. It feels like for the remainder of the show. I thought we were going to be in New Siam for a lot longer than we are. We were only there for 2 episodes, 2.5 episodes, basically. I'm shocked they just left. I feel like we're going to be the rest of the time on Prodigy Island. So I do wonder if we're there the rest of the episodes, how can they sustain themselves from a story level, from an intensity level, if we're in one location for the next 5 hours of content. So I'm very excited for the rest of the show. The show is definitely better than I was expecting going in, but I still have some skepticism on how the show can sustain itself moving forward. So, what are your thoughts, guys, on Alien Earth? Let me know down in the comments. Like the video, subscribe, and guys, I have another video for you guys coming very soon.